So, member of the Democratic Alliance and member of the Provincial Legislature in Gauteng, Mr. Khume Ramulifho, has resigned from the Democratic Alliance. Ramlulifho, of course, lost out to Solly Msimanga in his bid to become DA leader in Gauteng last year. He has served the Democratic Alliance for the past 25 years. Ramlulifho joins us now in studio for more. Sir, good morning to you. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Good morning, and thanks for the opportunity.
25 years on. Why now? Why leave the Democratic Alliance now?
So I believe each journey does have its own end, and my journey with the DA has come to an end today. I always maintained that when I joined then, I wanted to be part of a growing party which is inclusive and diverse in nature, and considering the perception of the DP then at the time. So I felt like that is what I'm going to do to, change the perception, build new majority. But with changes, you get to a level where you realize that whatever you want to achieve, you are not going to achieve it anymore. Like where we are, I think the strategy is to consolidate the current support rather than, broaden the base. We talk about, paying attention to wards where we've got 50% plus of votes. Meaning that the area where I'm assigned, which is Soweto, we don't have that numbers. So I feel like I will not be adding any value going forward, except just being there because it's not priority.
Can I ask you to clarify what you mean by expanding into the majority of the electorate? I mean, you're saying that you feel that the DA right now is really trying to consolidate the support that they do have. What kind of majority would you want to bring into the Democratic Alliance, or have you attempted to in the past 25 years?
No, I mean, I try to broaden the base, getting as many young people as possible, especially when I was still a student, which we managed, and, build a base from them, try to build capacity amongst those young people. So some of them we've seen getting into party ranks because we invested a lot. And then we said there's also a majority of people in the country which primarily are black. And we said we also need to get to that market. And we started building branches in areas where the DA never had a base. And we thought that is what we're doing, and that's why the party shows some, tremendous growth up until 2019, where we started to regress. Because in 2019, we've not done well. Then come 2021, it was even worse because we lost a lot of seats, which it was just another change. But we said, usually after elections, we sit down and say, let's reflect what needs to be done. We strategize. But since then now, the new approach is, let's consolidate what we have. So the last registration weekend, we didn't have much to do because the areas where many of us are assigned to say, no, it's not really a priority. The focus is on your 50% plus wards, which is mostly your so-called former traditional DA stronghold.
How much of this is about race, Mr. Ramulifho? How much of this is really about, in your view, perhaps, is the DA not doing enough to broaden its base within the poor black communities? Is that the bigger concern for you? It's
probably they've given up that we can't grow in that market, but some of us were really committed that we will do our best to put efforts so that we, start to communicate the DA values, DA principles, which resonate by and large with many South Africans. But it's just an issue of, do you really believe that this is what needs to be done? But I guess, with change of leadership every now and then, priorities do change. And I feel like I want to still add value. I want to contribute. I think I still have energy. And with my commitment to serve the people of this country, I feel like I need to find a way and go and serve somewhere else. Because here, I've already tried my best, but I feel like I reached a ceiling. So I opted to call it a shot. Because I was just scheduled to go for an interview to be re-elected to Parliament or Legislature. I decided, no, I'm not feeling like I can continue doing it, and I decided, let me call it a quit.
Over the years, we've seen, an exodus of leaders from the Democratic Alliance. That's something that one can't deny. Lindiwe Mazibuko, Musi Maimane, Herman Mashaba, and the list really can go on and on. Magashule Gana, who's been a colleague of yours as well within the Democratic Alliance, who's also recently exited the party. What is behind that? I mean, do we need to confront a certain issue here? Is there a glass ceiling that is placed on certain leaders of perhaps a certain race within the Democratic Alliance?
One will conclude that probably there is a certain, a limit, because I probably think that I'm the longest serving member, either in legislatures who is black, but I'm saying, you probably get to a level where you say you need to do more. And when you feel like, you can't do more than what you have given because there's either a ceiling which is probably structural, you decide to say, I'd rather just leave the things and go somewhere else. And maybe it's the level of patience to say, we want to, things are not going the way we will have loved as a country. So can we move with speed? And if you are not allowed to do that with speed, sometimes you get frustrated and you find, where do I go where I can be able to add value? Because as you mentioned, that we're not just losing people who don't have capacity, who don't have skills. These are talented individuals, which we're supposed just to consolidate. Some of them, obviously, we sat down and said, this is the direction which we need to take. This is how we need to go about. And in some instances, there are areas where we succeeded, in some areas where we have not. Some became impatient. And I thought, maybe, let me stay longer. I will, contribute something different and people will look at it differently. But I guess I reached that ceiling too, to say I can't go beyond. And
you've handed in your resignation already? Has there been a response from party leadership to your resignation?
Yeah, the chair just said, it's very sad, we were not expecting this, but I said, unfortunately, we built a strong relationship with some of the colleagues inside, because we, just beyond being colleagues, become like family, we become friends. As you could remember that the past 25 years has been a long journey. So there are those whom we have met along those. So there's some number of colleagues which at times they make you emotional, because they were thinking that, we thought, you will still,
as one of the longest serving members of the party, yes, of color, that is. Let's get into where to next. Are you joining another party, opening a political party? What's the next step? Yeah,
I must tell you that on my way here, I just had some frank conversation with a number of, politicians in the country, and they all tried to give me some, we come this way, come to this and that, and I felt like I want to go on the ground, and all the parties which tried to reach out to me, I feel like I will go to Zansi, which is a new party. It's not represented in parliament, in legislature, and it's not what I want now. I just want to go on the ground and serve our people, and I feel like that's why I want to spend my time. Continuing to serve people of this province and this country.
And where do you see your ambitions then sitting in terms of you coming up the ranks in Zansi?
That's not really a priority for me. I just want to be part of an establishment which is, broadening, the reach, inclusive, looking at the interests of building this country so that we can deal with the issue of poverty, unemployment, and build a successful nation which is very competitive. That is what I want to do. So I thought, my party, which I was a member for so long, was going to be the agenda, but I realized that it's not going to be, or it's no longer the case.
One could easily argue, though, that you're coming out of a party that is seen really as the official opposition, and that as you join some of the newcomers in the political landscape, that you're joining a smaller political party that may not be able to have the sort of sway that other parties, such as the Democratic Alliance, will have in the upcoming general elections. Why Zansi? And, do you really think that Zansi, come April, May, will be that party that makes a difference to the numbers, that is, particularly to the numbers?
It's all about the offer. What are you offering? If you look at also the DA, if you're giving example, it was a 1.7% party in 1994. So they didn't just start where they are, So it's all about building capacity on the ground, sell the message which is positive, which resonates with South Africans, because that is what is required. So that's why I'm saying I'm committing myself to go on the ground and assist Zansi to build that capacity on the ground as a growing party. Because when you listen to their members, their volunteers, they're all talking about building South Africa, which is capable of looking after its own people. And this is what I feel like it's something which I really need. It's some of the things which I wanted the DA to look at. So that's why when I said I wanted to be part of building new majority in the country, that is what actually motivated me to. So I feel like agenda on the other side, I will not be able to continue to pursue it. If it's going to be materialized, it's not going to be in a short space of time, if there are people who still want to pursue that agenda. But that's why I said I want to go on the ground and start from the ground. Like, that's why I started, as a student, where there were no even single structures, started to form the DP aligned student organization at the time, go to the branches where there was not even branches, start to build that. And that is what
I need to squeeze one last question in here. Is your leaving the Democratic Alliance a sign that you have very little confidence in how well the party will perform in the upcoming elections, as briefly as you can?
No, indeed. I'm seeing that the party is going to regress, especially looking at the strategy they have adopted. And that's why I feel like I can't be part of that. I wanted to be part of the party which is going to build new majority. And when I realized that, even when you come with ideas and if people are not prepared to listen to those ideas, you rather remain stagnated. But I don't want to remain stagnated. As I said, I've been enjoying the growth, because when the party grows, it shows that the ideas, the views with which members expressed are taken into consideration.
Right.
And you see rewards in return by growth every election.
We'll be watching your political career very closely. Thank you so much for coming into studio and making the announcement with us. Of course, that there, Mr. Khume Ramulifho, the outgoing Democratic Alliance member and member of the Provincial Legislature in Gauteng, who says now he's leaving the Democratic Alliance and has his sights set on Rise Mzansi.